Mutindi. There was once a rich man who lived happily in Umutara. The man owned a large herd of healthy cattle that dotted his swath of land. His land extended from Muvamba River to Rusumo Falls. The fertile land produced a variety of crops that were exported to neighboring Korogwe, Burundi, and Bugesera. He married a beautiful young woman, and soon after, the couple had a baby boy who added flavor to their already enjoyable life. They called him Mutindi. However, the wife could not give birth thereafter, and this brought some frustration to the couple. The man's friends started mocking him, claiming that he was not useful to the country since his household could not provide enough men to defend the nation in case of invasion. So, they advised him to marry another wife, which he did. The second wife gave birth to many boys, and soon, all his attention turned towards her. The man had no time to his first wife and her only son. One day his first wife told him, "By now our nation needs many young men to protect it. This is as true as I am your wife while Mutindi remain your son. Listen, woman, you have failed me. A real wife must be a mother of many boys," replied husband. From that time onwards, she accepted her situation as rejected wife but decided to stay, for the sake of her son. Her husband never paid her any visit. Meanwhile, the mother with many boys was given anything she wanted while her sons underwent intensive military training in which they excelled. The man started enjoying the remarkable recognition from his colleagues for being an exemplary citizen while his first wife lived in total neglect. When Mutindi grew up, he went to work to his step-brother who mistreated him. They had accepted to employ him on condition that he would not tell anybody that he was actually their brother. Soon their father grew very old and thought it was time to give them their inheritances. He called all of them, including his first wife's son. When had gathered, he allocated all his wealth to the second wife's sons. Then he turned to Mutindi, gave him his walking stick and said, "Son of the neglect mother, this is your inheritance." All his step-brothers burst into laughter. This hurt Mutindi so much that he broke down and cried. His father pulled him aside, held him. "My son, your inheritance is in this stick and Bajendwa, the secret well. Before you get married, go with this stick to secret well and claim your share." Mutindi brothers' continued mistreatment did not hurt him much as their mockery did, because sometimes they would refer to his mother, who was already subdued by her own miseries, back at neglected home. On many occasions they would make fun of him by asking him to milk his stick so that his mother could drink. Soon after, their father died. Mutindi ignored all abuse, continued working. When he felt responsible enough to marry, he said goodbye to his mother, who wished him good luck. He headed to the secret well. His journey started at the first cock crow. By soon, he could see the Nairobi-Fubaya hill far behind him. By the evening the same hill looked like an ant hill. He felt very tired. Where is the secret well? How far is it from here? How long will it take me to get there? Those questions preoccupied his mind throughout the journey. Sometimes he was surprised by the distance he had covered whenever he looked back. He thought that it was enough for that day. In those days, it was part of Rwanda culture to welcome a stranger and offer them food and accommodation as well as any other assistance that such a visitor would require. All this would be done free of charges, and every citizen had to fulfill this duty. In the horizon, Lake Ahima looked like a tiny pond. He marveled at how such a big lake could become a pond. He asked himself what had become of the huge hippos that lived in it. He thought that they had become insects. "Phew," he exclaimed. "They will no longer be able to damage my beans." Whenever the harvest time approaches, they come to feast on my crops, as if I only work for hippos, recalled Mutindi in disgust. The nearest homestead belonged to an old woman who had no children. He went in and was welcomed. The old woman asked him the purpose of his journey, of which Mutindi explained to her satisfaction. She offered him some food and showed him where to sleep. In the morning, she gave him some packaged food to eat on the way and wished him good luck. During his journey, his brother's cattle keeper teased him. Others offered him milk and asked him where he was going. He could hear some saying he was going to commit suicide at Ruzumo Falls homestead. He entered. The chief instructed his subjects to offer him accommodation only. The following morning, Mutindi started off early enough and passed through maize, bean and millet fields. It was harvesting time. He marveled how the crops had done well that season. He approached a group of young girls who were harvesting millet. He greeted and asked them how far the Bajendwa well was. The girls directed him and he followed their instructions. Toward sunsets, he noticed the footpath he was following led to a thick forest. A woman nearby wondered what the man was going to do in that forest. She got worried because she knew that it was dangerous, especially at that unusual time. She asked him where he was going and what he was going to do. Mutindi explained everything and the woman let him enter the thick forest. The forest was dark and dense. Occasionally he could see a group of wild animals playing in front of him and blocking his way. He would wait patiently, and once they had gone, he would continue. Then, all of a sudden, he heard a very deep voice calling him by his name. He was baffled. The voice called him again. He started trembling with fear. Then the voice told him, "Do not worry, Mutindi. Just tell me where you are coming from and where you are going. I will help you." Then Mutindi explained everything to the voice. "I see. You are almost there. However, I would advise you to stay here till morning so that you may not have to walk in the forest during the night." Mutindi obliged as the voice continued. "There is a big snake which must drink water from this well. There is also stone in the middle of that well. When the well, go straight to the stone and sit on it. When the snake arrives, let it drink water and swim. It will come to you and toss you in the air and catch you. Do not be afraid. Once it has done that, you also hold it, toss it into the air and wait for its instruction. You must follow everything it will tell you." The following morning, he reached the well at the sunrise. He noticed the stone in the middle of the well. He sat on it. He was daydreaming when a sizzling sound attracted his attention. He looked in the direction where the sound was coming from and saw a giant snake that dived into the well. It drank water and then swam. Sometime it would keep part of its tail in the water and spin the rest of its body in the air. It would repeat the same exercise with its head or tail in the water at regular intervals. The more the snake applies its acrobatic skills, the more Mutant got scared. He was about to take off when the snake seized him with its tail and threw him 10 meters in the air. He came down head first, but the snake held him and tossed him up again. It was Mutindi's turn to toss the snake in the air. He grabbed it and hurled it above himself, caught it midair and tossed it again before catching it and placing it gently on the very stone he had been sitting on. The snake looked at and said, "You're luckiest and luckiest man on this land from now onwards. You will be blessed with many children and property. Just pick up your stick and go back. As you go, many large herds of cattle and their herdsmen will follow you. They will all be yours. Remember to follow the same way brought you here. Give a young cow to the girls whom you found harvesting millet and a young bull to the chief who gave you accommodation." The snake paused and then asked, "You will stay with her and treat her like your mother. Let your own mother live with the old woman. All your stepbrother will henceforth pledge allegiance to you and you will be their leader." Mutindi picked up his stick and everything became as the snake had said. He followed all its instructions and all was well till Jai's last day of his life. However, the feeling of being underprivileged continued haunting him throughout his life, as the word Mutindi implies.